how good of a cruise could you possibly have on a ship built in 2006, like Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas? We just got back from a 7-night Caribbean cruise, and we're going to tell you exactly how good the food and service was, how good the amplification and refurbishment was, and what shows and entertainment are like on Freedom of the Seas. We ate for nearly free the entire cruise because we ate in the main dining room 14 times on a 7-night cruise. That's more than any other time we've ever eaten in the main dining room.
For sure.
Typically, it's most of the dinners in the main dining room and then sometimes breakfast. Now, why do we choose to eat in the main dining room so much, La?
Well, for this instance, we were actually with our kids, and who we'll call Grandma was with us. And she had actually never done main dining breakfast. So we're like, well, we're going to show you what main dining breakfast is all about. So what's different about main dining versus like the Windjammer is it's not as hectic.
Washy, washy before you yummy, yummy.
It's very much sit down, get served, fancy breakfast. You can get like eggs Benedict and like fancy foods if you want to get real with it. But the kids actually really like it too. And they actually cater to the children. So don't be afraid to bring your kids for sure.
Yes, Grandma was a Diamond member and has never had main dining room breakfast, which is kind of a shock. One of the things that made main dining room that much better, honestly, was the service.
Yes.
So we had my time dining instead of like traditional dining, but what we did is because we had kids in kids club, we dropped them off at 7 o'clock each night when they opened, had dinner at 7:15, and after the first night, our service was good. So we specifically went to, when we were coming out, the maitre d' or the person taking reservations, hey, can we have a 7:15 p.m. night every night with the same table? Because service was great, and of course they like to hear service is great, so they obliged. And we got to know Maria, our head waiter, and Christian, the assistant waiter. Maria had been on the ship or worked for Royal Caribbean or some company for 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
They work great as a team, and she continues to come back to Freedom of the Seas, specifically because she said of the culture, that's good management.
Yeah.
So once when they kind of got that little nest egg, it's almost like a company within a company. They just enjoy working with each other, so she just keeps on coming back.
I think that's one of the main differences that you will notice, like the more you cruise, depending on the size of the ship. Not that service is bad on the big ones, don't get us wrong, but you get that more personal, like they get to know you as people and like actually ask you about your life and like, how did you meet and things like that. And we got to know ours pretty well to the point where we're like hugging each other, leaving on the last night and like, we'll see you next time type of relationship. It's just very different compared to some of the larger ones.
Yes, and the main dining room breakfast is great as well. I mean, I love white tablecloth, fancy breakfast, and it's very leisurely. So that, if you haven't tried that before and you want to have a laid-back pace, do main dining room breakfast and give it a try at least once so you know what it's like.
And it's very calm. It's just not as Windjammer, where you're fighting at the omelet station.
Now, while we did do this cruise extremely inexpensive from a food standpoint, we did try one specialty restaurant, which was Giovanni's. And the reason why we did Giovanni's because Mrs. Tips here loves Giovanni's.
It's so yummy.
And we did it for lunch.
Yeah.
And we booked it in the cruise plan beforehand. So it was like $15 a person or something like that. Super cheap. Ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, we'll do that. And then kids 5 and younger eat for free, so we only had to pay for 2 adults and 1 child. So it was very affordable and very delicious. And Giovanni's, we'll talk about in the application, that's actually the newer version of the Italian restaurant from Royal Caribbean. And it's just absolutely delicious. So the other cool thing about the dining options on Freedom of the Seas is that while there are a few specialty dining restaurants, such as the Giovanni's I talked about, the Chops Grill, which is like on every single ship, those are kind of right next to the Windjammer and off to the side. Yeah. And then there's only 2 other specialty dining restaurants. There's Izumi and Teppanyaki, which is on deck 4 on one side of the casino, kind of underneath some stairs. And then on the other side of the casino is Playmakers. We did eat at Playmakers too. Do you know why we ate at Playmakers? Why do we eat at Playmakers?
The campfire cookie.
The campfire cookie. Honestly, it is hands down the best dessert on any Royal Caribbean ship, in my opinion.
Oh, wait. And very similar to what we talked about with main dining service. We had the best waiter at Playmakers. He was so sweet. Without even asking, he brought each of the kids their own individual scoop of ice cream. Flavors we didn't even know they had, like strawberry, like stuff that like you wouldn't normally see out. It's always vanilla, chocolate. They gave us extra scoops of ice cream just for the kids. And it was so sweet. He just enjoyed watching us interact as a family. And it just touched our hearts. I mean, he's just such a sweet person.
Which is a good idea to have some cash on you in case you want to leave a gratuity. Because we didn't think we were going to be able to get back to Playmaker. So we just took the name for the end of the cruise review. And then we made sure we gave him a nice tip just because of how great he was.
But anyway.
Okay, moving on to the amplification. What was the amplification like on a 2006 ship? I mean, what'd they do?
I would say the easiest way to say it is all the common areas were amplified. So the pool area where the kids area was awesome. Tons of slides, like a splash pad area, not very deep swimming pool just for the kids. The kids had a blast. It was nice because they were in like one area and you didn't have to like worry about them running off too far. They had hot tubs just for the kids.
Yeah, that's I haven't seen that before.
Amazing,
actually.
Because as you know, the kids often will kind of get into take over some of the adult ones. So it was nice that they had them just for the kids, and they were at like a lower temperature, things like that. The one thing, the rooms, while very clean, like the ships are always, I feel like, especially Royal, are very clean. But our room definitely was showing its age. It needed a refresh. Like a good example is one of the drawers on the vanity was like broken, where like if you pulled it, it would like collapse. Not a big deal. It wasn't like a big deal enough to call anyone, but you know, stuff like that, like nicks and things just from wear and tear.
Yeah, it's 2006 ship, and let's just be real. On a brand new ship, you're gonna see little rust spots here and there, even like new icon seas because it's in salt water all the time, believe it or not. So Freedom of the Seas was re-amplified $116 million in 2019, and in 2020 it came out. It was actually the first one back in service after the restart started. So we were on that for one of the first sailings after the restart, and we still enjoyed that cruise because it was first cruise back, and we enjoyed the food and service and the amplification because it's got the new Giovanni's as well, and it makes it great for the splash pad in the area for the kids, and then also like your kids club, Adventure Ocean, all that is redone. That's so nice. That's just like the new ships now. Yes. We actually take that away as punishment for the kids if they don't behave. So
it's so good.
There's that. But moving on to the shows. What did we think about the shows on our Freedom class ship, which for Royal Caribbean is a mid-sized ship at 156,000 gross ton. Just for reference, your Icon class ship is like 250,000 gross ton, but 156,000 is not small, just to be fair, okay? No. Your Carnival ships, the new XL class is between 181 and 184,000 gross tons, and the class right below that is like 20,000 gross tons less, so you know, like 140,000 gross tons roughly, so right there in the middle. So mid-ship for Royal Caribbean, still a good sized ship compared to other cruise line companies. But that did affect on what shows and entertainment there are on the Freedom class ship or Freedom of the Seas compared to some of the Oasis class ships that we're used to sailing on more recently. So what are some of those, what was that like?
So I would say like if you've done an Oasis class, like you're used to like Aqua Show, like all the comedy shows, the late night shows, you know, adult versus, you know, kid shows and, you know, super awesome like entertainment. I would say that the entertainment was okay. It's not that any of them were bad. They're all extremely talented. That's not it. It's just, it was the same shows that we've seen before. And it was kind of like, oh, they didn't change it. And I was kind of surprised that they didn't like make a new show. And I know that sounds like, oh, well, you don't know how much work goes into I don't. Yeah. I don't. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know how much work goes into doing a new show. I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying I was a little surprised. It was the same shows we saw way back I say way back. But it was the Once Upon a Time.
That was in the main theater, Once Upon a Time, and that's a great show. We've seen that obviously a couple times before.
It's fine.
It's a good show.
The Ice Show, which is always very good. They did do Quest, which I know some people don't do Quest anymore.
So, Paul's Quest is an adult theme show.
Yes.
And it's a great show.
It's so funny.
But that show is going to be on basically every ship, and so is the Love and Merit show. It's going to be on every show.
Always
but
good.
La here, she complains. I don't want to say complains. One of the negative is the shows don't change. Well, if you've never cruised it, it's not a negative. Okay.
Of course, yes.
And even if you've cruised it, it's like, well, just go find some. I mean, let's be real. Like the Love and Merit show, I want to go to that every single time. All right, because there's different guests, there's different people. Okay, and if I don't get to see it because I don't know, I'm too tired that night, or I have kids with the sailing, I want to watch it on the stateroom TV the day after. So yes, that is
just okay.
If you're cruising frequently, just change up your cruise style a little bit. But yeah, the shows. The main shows are the same, but that's true for bigger and Oasis class ships too. It's the same Broadway shows over and over.
That's true.
So she's critical. I'm much more glass half full than.
Oh, come on.
But that's just me. All right, but would you do Freedom of the Seas or this ship again? Either just the two of us or with the kids again? What are your thoughts?
I definitely would. I do want them to show a little love to the rooms.
That's not going to happen though.
But I would definitely do it again. It's a very good ship. Everything was great. We had wonderful service, a wonderful experience, wonderful time. I would totally do it again. I think it works for every age group too. That's another thing. It's very accommodating.
Unless you
for
don't
every
like
age
kids,
group.
then cruise on the oldest ship,
go to the
like the
adult
Grandeur of the Sea. Oh yeah.
Go to the adults.
Would I cruise again? Well, absolutely. I would definitely cruise again. Especially because of how good of a deal this ship class is. And you want to know just how good of a deal that is? Watch this video here on how we got Freedom of the Seas for $59 a night per person. Yeah, you heard that right. Be sure to like and subscribe. My name is Brian.
Mrs. Tips.
Tips for cruisers.
We'll see you in the next video.